We're talking recruiting on today's Alabama Football Report. I am Tom Downey. Alabama on the rise with some more commits. We'll break them down. If you think the Crimson Tide will finish at minimum with a top 3 recruiting class this cycle, show it by liking today's video right now. We begin with the latest commitment, one that I am excited about. I know producer Chris is too. I think most of the Alabama fans out there. Caleb Odom, the 4-star tight end, is now the 5th commitment in July for the Crimson Tide. I think we set the over-under at 5.5. Well, there's about half the month to go, and the Crimson Tide are on the verge of hitting the over from that perspective. Odom is a big get for the Crimson Tide. He is a 4-star recruit in the class of 2024. He is the number 64 overall tight end, the number 6 tight end in the class, by the way, number 11 out of the state of Georgia. Alabama most likely will utilize tight ends more heavily with Tommy Rees at the helm, at least for now, I suppose. This is a sizable get for the Crimson Tide. In theory, Odom can become a future impact player at the tight end spot. Here's what Andrew Ivins of 24/7 Sports writes about Odom. Very fluid as a route runner, has excellent spatial awareness, which likely stems from a decorated hoops background. Owns a higher success rate in contested catch situations, as he does a nice job of consistently positioning himself to make a play and then securing the ball away from his body. Again, that's the basketball background, right? He should be viewed as a potential mismatch, one of the top offensive weapons in the class of 2024. Likely going to need some seasoning before he's ready to go, but the skill set suggests that he could thrive in a modern spread attack. He has NFL upside. There were other teams that had plenty of interest in Caleb Odom, and when you're a top 70 recruit, even in the recruiting rankings, you basically have your pick of schools within reason. Auburn, Florida, Miami, Georgia, A&M, all teams that were after Odom, but the Crimson Tide had locked onto him as their top tight end target, as they move with an offense that I think is going to utilize tight ends a little bit more. Now, Tommy Rees at Notre Dame utilized tight ends a massive amount. He also had Michael Mayer, one of the most productive tight ends in college football history, and which one of the best ones, right? Now, all the positives about Caleb Odom were the pass-catching side of it. Maybe he needs to grow as a run blocker to get on the field a little bit there, but C.J. Dippre, Danny Lewis, Robbie O, Amari Niblack as well. There's some talent, untapped talent there, but you also need more of it. And I think Odom has a chance to make an impact maybe sooner than what people might even be expecting. So when it comes to this upcoming year, we'll tie it into this season too, not just all recruiting stuff. How much production on a scale of 1 to 10 does Tommy Rees get from this tight end? 1 is next to nothing. It's like some of those offenses that just don't even use a tight end. 10 being it's above the Notre Dame offense. It's definitely somewhere in the middle. Probably higher than what Bama's had in recent years, but vote for me in the comments. 1 to 10 is your scale. Now, Odom was not the only commit to pledge to Alabama over the weekend. Casey Poe, the 4-star interior offensive lineman out of Texas, also joining the Crimson Tide. Much like Odom, Poe is a 4-star recruit. He's number 103 overall. These rankings, by the way, are per the 24/7 Sports composite rankings. I think on 3 had Poe as the number 1 interior offensive lineman, so maybe he could even rise a little bit more once ESPN, et cetera, get caught up eventually. Number 4 interior lineman in the class, number 19 out of the state of Texas. Here's what Gabe Brooks, also of 24/7 Sports, wrote about Poe. Big body with the requisite length to play across the offensive line. Quick get off with point of attack strength. Strong lower half and active feet foster consistent drive blocking power. Locks on and doesn't relent. Looks to finish blocks. Displays above average lateral movement with the ability with the functional athleticism to engage edge speed when required. Plays with good hand placement, experience at tackle and guard, and can play both, but the latter, meaning guard, is likely higher ceiling projection in the long run. After all, everyone there has him as an interior offensive lineman. So the new 24/7 Sports composite team rankings. It is not that long ago that Alabama was not in the top 25. Frankly, it was less than 2 weeks ago. They were 14th, I believe, before Poe and Odom committed. And now the Crimson Tide have jumped up to number 5. Despite only having 14 commits, they trail just Georgia, Ohio State, Florida, and Michigan. And we all know they're not done getting commitments quite yet. One other team in the top 20, and I think even like the top 30, have 14 commits. It's Texas. They're down at number 20. It is a high-quality class if the volume isn't quite there, at least for now. Folks, we're only averaging about 140 likes per video, which is kind of a disappointing figure there. So if you have not already done so, this is your second chance to like today's video. Let's get at least 200 on this one. Some more recruiting updates here before we go. 2 players kind of finalizing their plans here. Daniel Hill, the running back we've spent some time on, has announced his top 5, which might not be a full-on 5 in reality, and his commitment date, August 23rd of 2023. Daniel Hill will be making his commitment for the class of 2024. He does have a top 5. I will make note it might not be a true top 5. As we get into it, seems to be 2 frontrunners have emerged there. But the USC Trojans, the Alabama Crimson Tide, the Tennessee Volunteers, Mississippi State Bulldogs, and the South Carolina Gamecocks are the top 5 for the 4-star recruit in the class of 2024. He's number 193 overall. He is the number 14 running back in this class, number 6 in the state of Mississippi. But whether it's On3, Rivals, 24/7 Sports, it seems like 2 schools are the real front runners for Daniel Hill. Now, look, we have over a month to go before his commitment, and typically things will get a little bit more clear because there'll be just enough leaks for the crystal ball people to get their predictions in. But the On3 recruiting prediction machine has 56.9%, nice, for South Carolina, 41.4% for Alabama. These are the 2 clear-cut favorites for Daniel Hill, as the Tide still want to get at least one more back for this class, despite Justice Haynes being the potential superstar of last year's grouping. So in the end, assuming it's one of these 2 schools, who lands Daniel Hill? S for South Carolina, A for Alabama. You guys can go get those votes in for me in the comment section right now. We also have one more update. Okay, I guess kind of 2 updates here on William Sanders. He is going to commit in a very short period of time, July 21st. That is a Friday, by the way. Sanders will make his commitment. A lot of buzz. The Crimson Tide will end up getting him. He's from Brookwood, Alabama. His top 3, Alabama, LSU, and the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And there's been plenty of buzz for Alabama. They offered him pretty early on in the process. I think that will go a long way. Sanders and Joseph Ionata got offers kind of back-to-back, and the immediate buzz was both these guys will probably end up there. Now, they also got Casey Poe. This would be the number 3 interior offensive lineman in the class, in theory, behind Ionata and Poe. But here's what Sanders said on Alabama. It seems like I impressed them with Coach Saban giving me the offer after camp. Coach Wolf seems to have my best interest right whenever we talk and communicate. He's told me he truly feels Alabama is the best place for me, a place where I can grow and accomplish goals for myself. Sanders is now a 4-star recruit, by the way. The last time we discussed him, he was a 3-star, and I think ranked in like the 700 or 800, something like crazy low. Well, the composite's been updated. I think On3 was maybe a bit behind, or ESPN, or both of them, or even 20% Sports. One of them was behind. He's now 397 overall. He's the number 25 interior offense lineman in this class, and the number 21 player in the state of Alabama. Good chance, I think, he ends up being the 6th commit. Hit the over in our July predictions for Alabama football recruiting.